Papa Elon, take us to the moon. Frankenstein in the shot.
Frankenstein in the shot.
Is that a...
Y'all ready, peeps?
Huh? We're ready.
Daniel?
Cool.
No, it's Saga.
Oh, I don't have a beverage of choice. I think
Okay.
it's okay.
That's right.
That's
Pretend
all right,
like Canada's your beverage.
Yeah, so around
Okay, here we go.
20,
All right.
minutes, just stop.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Phil, and welcome back to the MidYouth Universe, the Saga series. Show about just being 30-something, every something, and just kind of figuring it out as we go. We are broadcasting from Hong Kong, or as Max says, Saiwan Bro.
Saiwan Bro.
I don't like that. That's a weird one, man. Like it's
Saiwan Ho got picked up by the censor. So
We can't use that, right? I'm Phil, as you know. We got Fran with us. Welcome back, Fran.
Hey guys.
Yeah, we've got Maxi Max here. And today is which Stevie?
I'm sneaking on you.
Oh, sneaky.
No, you were
Steve.
Sneaky Steve last week, though.
Stoic Steve.
Stoic Steve. I like
No,
that.
but we need your bands, bro. Like we need your. Yeah, we need.
Or it can be
stoicism.
Story Steve.
Story
Story Steve. Yeah, man. What are you guys drinking tonight? Steve?
Stoic
Mr.
Steve doesn't drink. Stoic Steve is on an aqua fast.
You are nurtured by life. And
By life.
the ever-flowing current that flows within
In the universe.
ether.
Yes, I absorb humid from
Yeah.
my foe's fear.
Right. Today I'm drinking Wilson's wistful. What? No, it's Watson's. It's Watson's water. It's nothing. It's nothing special.
Thanks for the sponsor. Watson.
Yeah. Thank you for the sponsor.
It's
Fran,
good water, yeah. I'm
It's
drinking
good
the same
though,
thing.
right?
Yeah, I like the fizziness in the throat, yeah.
It's kind of cool, right? It's like some people don't like drinking fizzy water.
Well,
like
people
sparkling
compare
water.
it to like static, drinking static.
Oh yeah, like the feeling of it.
Yeah, like
Yeah, but
when
it's
you
like-
see static on the TV, that's what it
Who
feels
doesn't
like.
like fizzy water?
A lot of people, man, they're like, "Oh, I'm not about this." I'm like, it's like 1,000 kisses on your tongue every sip.
It's more fun.
Kiss,
It's
kiss,
just,
kiss,
yeah.
kiss, kiss. Yeah, it's a lot more fun, right?
Squeeze a bit of lime in it, it's delicious.
Oh my god.
Oh,
heaven on
you
earth.
are so classy. You always drinking lime. Like,
Hey, it's
how
good
many
for
limes do you buy per week?
Like 15.
Really? Per week?
Yeah, I'm half Mexican. Like we put lime on everything.
You
Do
do
you buy
put
in
lime
bulk?
in it.
You buy in bulk?
Like 15 at a time.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know if that's bulk.
You just have maximum vitamin C.
Yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
no scurvy in your house.
No
at all,
scurvy.
right?
Scurvy proof.
Scurvy free, right? Like, scurvy
I'm
Steve.
I'm a healthy saver.
How does one with scurvy act? That's like an old timey disease.
Well, they act like really dirty. Their teeth start to fall out.
Oh
They've got,
Jesus
like,
Christ!
they've got like a.
Feel like, can
their
you just
skin-
edit, post edit my during the show? I just cover it up.
That's crazy, man. This is episode 11, which is wild, man.
Well, we're double digits.
Yeah, we have been for a minute,
+1.
but a lot of them aren't online though. So we gotta. What you can do is go to the Instagram page and you'll see clips from each episode and
From the pre-verse?
yeah, from the preverse
The,
before
the beta days?
the big bang was
Before
right
the
there.
Big Bang.
And you walked straight past the Big Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, before the Big Bang. That's pretty cool, man. Today we're gonna be talking about media diets. Yeah, what does that mean to you guys? Media diet.
You are what you watch.
Yeah.
You are what you consume.
Well, you consume
well,
content.
I mean, it's
Consume
applying
media.
the principles of a diet, right? You are what you eat, but putting the media in front of it, it's you are what the content you consume, right?
Which,
Is there like a different when we talk about media? Are we only talking about content or screen time or a mixture of both or?
anything that your senses consume.
Except
for your mouth.
I think now we're in
True
a
that.
culture where you walk through the subway and people are glued to their screens.
Oh,
It's-
Yeah.
It's
Actually,
literally-
interesting thing. Like I don't remember the exact statistics, but I don't remember the exact statistic. But somebody once told me that like in 1 hour of screen time, you're actually consuming like 3 hours of screen time because you're actually on your phone watching TV, maybe on your computer. So
yeah, it's like now the phone, computer, everyone's got their headphones on.
It's true, yeah. It's very quiet. If you ever take your headphones off, the empty house quiet, eh? It's just people just breathing and scrolling, and
It's creepy.
Yeah.
yeah. Do you guys ever watch other people's screens?
No.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
It's kind of see them playing a game and
Well,
you're
no,
like,
I mean,
go left.
No, the interesting thing is like now I do see people playing games and stuff, and a lot of these mobile games, it's, you know, being a gamer from my childhood, it's like you had to press the buttons, but now a lot of these games, it's almost like you tap and then you just see the numbers fly, and it's almost like everything's just like automated.
So mindless.
Yeah, it's so mindless, but it's all about like, oh, getting those big numbers without actually like
Yeah.
doing anything. But has that dawned upon you guys? That
It's just big numbers.
yeah, no,
Big
no,
numbers
but-
bad.
No, we're talking about, you know, media diets, and I feel
Yeah.
like that's something with like, you know, that's a whole issue with the microtransactions and these apps nowadays. Is
Right.
people can kind of get, it's almost like a modern day version of the gambling slot machines, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
just dopamine, you know? Dopamine
Yeah.
leaving, like you're just wasting dopamine. So you become desensitized to the simple pleasures of life.
Yeah.
You do. It's scary.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just like, if I see a whole line of people on their phone, I just like go in like a mini, you know, Stoic Steve revolt, and I just like force my phone in my pocket and just see how long I can go before I start bugging guys.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like I'm all about maximize your time on your commute. So I listen to podcasts like
Maxes.
our very own.
Max is Max.
I listen to audiobooks, but you know I have, you know, the headphones in, but I have my.
But okay, so with that being said, I'm sorry to cut you off
No
there.
worries.
That's also media, though. You're also consuming media.
I am.
It might not be screen time, but it's media nonetheless,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we demonize screen time, which, you know, is obviously bad. He says every.
Well, I just think it's also
always
just
watching it.
yeah.
Yeah, you're always. I mean, you're always
always
on the screen.
Yeah.
But like for me, like I don't necessarily think that being on the screen is a bad thing.
It's not.
I mean, I grew up always stuck to this,
Of
glued
course,
to the screen.
Of course.
Right.
But I think for me, it's more important the quality of the content you're consuming. Like what you're looking on that screen. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it?
That's subjective, amigo.
Yeah, but you gotta be critical.
Well, I think one thing
about
we
it.
can agree on is like
Yeah.
if you're okay, maybe you're sitting down on a subway, that's fine. But maybe if you're like getting off the subway and trying to like go through human pedestrian traffic, don't be a zombie, kind of like.
Dude, I don't know about your spatial awareness, but mine's like top.
Yeah.
Dude, I could like.
Yeah.
Are you like, I am
I'm
one with
pretty
the
good
force
at
and
it.
the force is with me? I am
Yo.
one with the force and the force is with me.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Just
Wow.
we'll set up a camera and see how long I can walk with my head on my phone. You'll be amazed.
Okay,
Through traffic,
alright.
like Frogger. Watch.
No
Yeah.
eyes up, hey?
No eyes up.
Just
No
peripherals.
eyes up.
All right,
no
all
eyes
right,
up.
all right, Steve.
Challenge accepted.
maybe we'll set this up.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. That's awesome.
But,
No, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the content we consume is subjective. But I mean, there's some content that like flat Earth content.
I like
or-
to listen to romance novels on audiobook.
Do you
What
also-
about that?
That's good
Actually,
content, but
are you listening to you?
No, but okay. So audiobooks. It depends on what I guess you're listening to. What is good content? What's your opinion about what quality content is?
for me,
Yeah.
I mean, things that are like fact based. Like,
Define facts in this
I don't know,
world
like-
of fake news. Alternative facts. But no, seriously,
No.
what's fact based?
I don't know, like stuff that is. I mean, if I'm listening to like nonfiction stuff, like I want stuff. I'll try and listen to it with a critical ear or watch it with a critical eye. Like I want to be. Good
What does your
content.
critical eye look like?
Yeah, I don't know, but I wanna be like I wanna be able to look at content and be like if this was right or if I believe it or if I trust it. Like but I also have the mentality to like check what content I'm looking at and
Sure.
if it's reliable or not.
Sure.
I think is that like is where is it coming from? What's the source of the content? What's the purpose?
Right.
I think most people don't think about that stuff. They just consume the content and it's like
I mean, I think it's also to add to your point. You know, you could read books that are like critically acclaimed, but it's
Yeah.
also the way that it's written.
Yeah.
You know, like I really like Mark Manson books. You know, the author of Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is. That's the book. That's the book title.
One down.
Yeah, I got two left. It's fine. It's early on.
That's the book title, and I know it's a bit of a mainstream book now, and a lot of people have read it. But I think it got so popular because, you know, he written in a way that's very relatable.
Yeah.
But it also had that kind of fact-based content with statistics backing up his,
Yeah.
and you could read a book that's just all statistics, and then it would just be boring. Like you have.
Isn't that a statistics book? I'm sorry, I had to give one joke at least, right?
But it's about being able to consume stuff, but also be a critical thinking on, like realize what you're consuming and what's the purpose of it. Obviously, like you can read a fiction book and most people might not believe that it's real.
How many people do you see on their phones on the MTR, for example, that are reading books though? No. I always see some Pokemon Go or people just staring at their stocks. They ain't going nowhere,
or looking at your fantasy football team.
I see people reading books when air travel, when you travel on an airplane.
When was the last time you did that, bro?
Oh, dude, like a year ago. Yeah. I don't even remember. I really miss the airport feeling.
Yeah. So I think we kind of define the scope of different types of media people consume nowadays on their phones.
No, I know we
haven't defined it.
It's not like it goes so deep. It actually pisses me off, a lot of this poop that's on Netflix and stuff these days. Low quality content. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But then again,
Love Island, that kind of stuff. I was like, "Yo, are you serious?" There's just these.
You gotta see the purpose of that content. That's stupid content for you to put on as background noise, or when you're stressed out and you just want to chill out. For
a lot of people
get engaged and deep into it. A lot of people invest their lives in watching other people's lives.
Yeah. So you're not really about reality shows at all, right?
I'm not.
Because reality shows are just watching other people live.
But people are into that.
And some people learn social skills from that. Some people learn how different societies act that way. So for you, it's mindless, but for the next person, it could be.
I think it's also just guilty pleasure, right?
Yeah,
of course. It's just a sense, and that's so important because. If we're constantly trying to improve ourselves, better ourselves, man, you just need to switch off sometimes.
Of course, sometimes, but some people put a lot a lot of people like to watch other people. They like to watch successful people, and successful people they were born into wealth, or they worked hard to achieve the status to be recorded and be documented. And a lot of people watch with envy. They want to live that lifestyle. They want to consume it. But the more time that you sink into watching it, and that I don't know what is it? It's not FOMO, is it? I guess, but. That's time that you're not using to better yourself in some way, shape, form. But don't get me wrong, it's as a guilty pleasure every now and then, sure. But some people pour their life into it. Some people just I ran out of things to watch on Netflix. I'm just
it's not that they ran out of things to watch. It's just that
they've chosen to watch that.
Yeah. But they're not thinking.
I think they're not thinking poll or something outside.
Yeah, but they're not thinking the way you're thinking, as in you're being critical about the show because you understand the purpose and you know that it's a time waster. A lot of people don't take the time to think about that around the content that they're consuming.
This is real life. Yeah. I love how we're being more respectful of each other. I acknowledge you.
I acknowledge you.
Cut each other off.
We got Dan in the background directing us.
So
stop cutting each other off.
So it's okay. Let's just draw the parallel to eating good food versus bad food. You have candy, candy's like your reality TV, your action blockbusters. It's a little bit more entertaining.
Yeah.
And then you have, your broccoli, your vegetables, the stuff.
Bro, you don't like broccoli?
I love broccoli.
So, we're talking about diets. So kind of, gentlemen, where do we draw the line between, eating a balanced diet, which is, I studied some nutrition, so I always err on the side of you have to be balanced. You can't always just be eating broccoli and not enjoying what you eat. So it's how do we draw the balance between the content that we consume?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is this your lead into min-maxing?
I know
he's trying to get there.
He's ready and waiting. What do you guys define as a healthy diet?
Yeah.
I keep cutting you off. I'm so sorry, friend.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
We acknowledge you.
Sorry.
I feel acknowledged.
No, yeah. Please go on. Go on your question.
No, I mean it's up to the person, right? For me, action movies. I don't think action movies are candy diet. They're fun.
I was just using that.
But I think it's up to the individual and also what purpose they want to get out of the content. But again, we're talking about the real world, people don't really think about stuff.
What are your guys' content spreads? If you had a pie chart how would you allocate your content consumption into like candy versus meat and potatoes versus
Again, you got to define what's the meat and potatoes. What is the broccoli and chicken?
yeah.
You know,
I think meat and potatoes is like news, like daily news. Like just you have it, it's in front of you.
that can be very toxic, bro.
Oh, could be
Yeah.
Maybe the news can be like the candy and the sugar.
poison meat.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think
think-
of your own spread then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How would you do? What would you say is your, you know?
Why don't you tell us?
Oh, okay. Wow.
I guess,
Why don't you,
I guess,
or why don't you
know,
put it this
I
way?
guess
Tell
it
us, like in the last month, tell us like what content you're consuming and how you would categorize that.
and how has it benefited you? How
Yeah.
has it become your meat and potatoes? Like
Yeah.
what is the value add from consuming the content that you do?
Yeah, okay. So I do spend maybe like probably only 20% of my time like reading ebooks or listening to podcasts at the moment right now. I think the last month I spent a lot of time, especially I got really into stocks and stuff like 6 months ago. So I've been eating up like the kind of stuff that's happening.
Do you have
So I
any
spent-
GameStop stocks?
Stocks go up. Diamond hands. Anyways, so I read a lot about that kind of stuff. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on it because I believe that kind of stuff is like a positive way to build some wealth. And I probably do spend, when I come home at night, I spend probably 2 or 3 hours just noobing out on some junk.
Yeah.
What junk?
Um,
Specifically. Be specific, Steve.
Well, you don't have to be too specific. I mean, is it like mindless like reality, or is it? Or is
No,
it,
I would only watch reality stuff if Janice is watching it, and then like I do it like I at first for the first like 5 hours, I'm just like this is like, but then eventually I'll get into it like secretly.
After
Like
5
low key, she'll be watching it, and I'll be in the room like the doctor. What happened to Jesse?
But that's how it sucks you in. Like that, those shows are created to kind
Yeah.
of, you know, it's like the sugar in the popcorn or the butter in.
Yeah,
You know,
it is the butter, but I don't. That my spread doesn't add up to 100%, but you guys can
Yeah, no.
talk about how about you, Max?
I mean, for me, I don't personally enjoy watching Netflix or TV alone. It's not to say I'm like weird or anything, but for me, I enjoy consuming that content with a friend or, you know, a significant other. I categorize that into my social time, like watching a show with someone, because I enjoy kind of having that. You're watching something and you're having that banter and that kind of commentary as you watch it,
Yeah.
and then watching it alone, and it just doesn't really do that for me. I
Right.
prefer if I'm going to be consuming media alone, I'd much rather be like listening to a podcast, or, you know, I'm big on audiobooks because, you know, I like to kind of maximize my time. You know, while I'm on my commute, I usually have a, you know, ebook on.
There's a concept called min maxing.
We'll-
Have any of you guys heard about that?
We'll
or-
get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Don't worry
You
about
know, but I think there's a balance for everything, and I think it's about, you know, like you balance your finances,
Right.
you also have to balance your time, because ultimately consuming media consumes time,
Yeah.
and we all only have 24 hours a day,
Mhm.
so it's about, I think, just balancing how you spend that time. Obviously, a lot of our times are allocated with our jobs.
Mhm.
You know, that's
for me.
okay.
I've been working 7
In
months.
spirit.
Yeah, but you know, most people
He
have
likes
like,
to sit at home in bed, just go
most people have
keep character.
most people have 8 to 10 hours of work time, and they get home.
Yeah.
Minus 1 or 2 hours of commuting, and say you have, let's just say you have 4 to 6 hours of your free time.
Mhm.
So you have to look at it as blocks of time. So I think media cuts into that. So spending it in a healthy way, I think that I think is the balance of a healthy media diet.
That's in your pie.
What, my pie?
That's your pie.
That was the
Max is
question.
like, I don't eat pie.
It's like, no, work, no more pies.
That's
no more
my
pies.
tasteless chicken and lettuce.
No, I just see that. I see that media consumption it cuts into your time, and that is the currency.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying you have a finite amount of time per day, right? And
That's right.
if you're going to choose to consume the media that you consume, you should think about the time you're allocating towards that.
Absolutely, yeah. Fran, what's in your pie? Your media pie.
I got all kinds of stuff. So a lot of the like self-learning stuff, I usually just consume it at work, and the company I work for, they provide like learning channels that are like reliable and accredited and stuff. But like in my role is to be creative at work, to come up with creative ideas. And if I have to do that all day and then execute them, like it's tiring. And I honestly don't want to get home and start learning about new things or invest a lot of time in terms of I've just spent
lemons on your mouth.
Yeah, very much.
The history of lemons.
Yeah. So
limes or lemon
limes in Mexico.
It's that scurvy. How many teeth do I
Scurvy.
So when I get home, I like the content that I usually consume is stuff that is easy to watch.
Yeah.
But not necessarily like I still enjoy watching like those like deep TV shows with deep I like watching stories. Like the stuff that I consume is stories.
That's
I like to be invested in characters. I like to see what happens to the characters. I like to see. I don't think that's. And I'll watch stories that are like action movies or like really deep, gritty TV shows that are span over like 3 seasons where like it's very serious. It's invested.
That's awesome, yeah.
But I enjoy that because it's I don't have to think so much. You know, I do all my thinking during the day. I listen to podcasts. Currently, I'm listening to a podcast called Behind the Bastards, but it's kind of like a gossipy podcast about like people like the background of like historical figures who are considered to be bastards. So it goes
That's
like
cool.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting.
Send that link, dude.
Yeah, it's about I think there's one on Zimbabwe, like the president Mugabe, and they go like all the bad shit that he's done. The last one I heard was like there was one on Elon Musk and one on Mark Zuckerberg, but also like the prince from Belgium that destroyed Africa.
Who's running? Who's running? Is this a journalist running this?
Yeah, it's a journalist. He's like a war correspondent, and he's just digging up into people's histories.
Some jack in his apartment.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Probably not as interesting or cool as us though. Probably
I'll do like content that I'm currently consuming that I think is like so stupid. Is I bought a new game called SnowRunner, and it's just like you drive trucks through the snow.
That's fantastic.
And it's like
that's amazing.
All you gotta do is like take construction materials from point A to point B in the mud, and that's it. But you know what? Like it's content that I can acknowledge, and I can see it like this is a waste of time. I'm spending half an hour driving in virtual mud to take like
nothing in
virtual shit in snow. Like,
but you know what? But you know what? Like on the flip side, like you gotta be patient. You gotta be careful about where you drive, like, and it's one of those things where it's content that I consume that I don't have to. It's content that I don't have to think too much about it. Like I can relax a bit, you know.
That's because you're Lex Luthor, so one half of your brain's always consuming.
So
I think shit while the other's playing.
I think drawing from this, we can divide up, the time we spend in this media consumption of, things we consume to develop ourselves, things that we can consume to just relax and switch off our brains. So I think it's about finding a balance between both. There's also content we consume that are just our interests and hobbies.
Sure.
Phil, what about you?
My pie consists of mainly science fiction. I'm big into Star Trek, like huge into Star Trek right now.
I saw the lower decks.
It's hilarious. It's so fun, and it's so meta. That's what makes it brilliant, right?
So it's like a Family Guy version of animated cartoon.
It's
animated.
not, but it's not the same humor as Family Guy. No. It's like I know. I binge watched it yesterday actually.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously it's an animated cartoon. For our viewers that haven't seen it, what would you relate it to?
I don't know. I'm not there yet. But
is it like more like a Rick and Morty kind of?
No, it's.
Is it more of a Family Guy, a South Park?
No. I mean, the one thing is
it's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Do you remember that show on Cartoon Network?
Vaguely.
That's the closest it is to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was meta about being like it's a foster home. It's a foster home, but it's imaginary. So it's like so it's very meta. It's talking about itself, and that's what it is.
It's like I mean if you watched all the Star Trek episodes,
I feel like
I know, but like how everybody keeps referring, like, is that the Enterprise?
Where's
the Enterprise?
There's one point, I think it's like episode 3, where it's like, okay, and now we learn about the greatest people in Star Trek history. Miles O'Brien. I was like, what? It's like the most vanilla character, and he saved every season of Star Trek, like everything.
But he's the guy.
Really, like he did in reality.
If you watch it, you're like, oh my days, this guy is like.
No, he was in Deep Space Nine. He was like huge.
So,
but basically, he's the guy
spoilers,
manning.
I haven't
No, but basically, he's the guy behind the transporters. Like the beam me
this
up.
is definitely a thumbs up for Star Trek fans, for the non-Star Trek fans.
Well, I enjoy science fiction because it's and Star Trek does this well. It talks about current human politics and current human social dynamics, but outside of reality, right? They're in a spaceship, like traveling, and all these different aliens who all speak English, right? And all consume. It's weird, man. Oh, they have the translator.
Yeah, they have the
but
translator.
what they'll do is, so there's one episode in the Next Generation where these aliens contact this enterprise and they say, hey, could you guys help us? We're being oppressed by our government. We need weapons. We need this. Half the crew are like, sure, we're going to give you weapons and all that. And then the other half are like, wait, why do you need weapons? Like, oh, we're being oppressed. And then the oppressors...
we're being oppressed.
Sounds quite
This is very matter-of-fact casual. What you said.
The oppressors come back and say, what are you doing? These are terrorists. They are bombing hospitals and schools and stuff. Why are you giving them weapons?
Yeah.
So half the crew's like, oh, we're going to help the terrorists. Another crew's like, well, what makes them terrorists? Is it because they said they are? And you're like, oh.
Sounds like Afghanistan in space.
That's exactly it.
Well, that's the thing. Like a lot of Star Trek is that. Like the whole Deep Space Nine is about like a civilization, like a race that was oppressed and like they were colonized by the Cardassians.
That's right, yeah.
Kardashians.
The Cardassians oppressed the Bajorans. The Majorans. Yeah.
So
and it's all about Starfleet coming and then
So what
the
role
life
does
afterwards.
Kim play in this?
Does what?
The Kardashians?
The Kardashians.
So that's your show, isn't it?
I forgot. Now you got me confused.
Oh man, that's brilliant. Okay, we digress. Okay, Max, tell us about this concept of min-maxing.
Min-mixing?
Min-mixing.
I believe it's called a yogging.
I mean, I think I've mentioned it many times in the show that I used to be a hardcore gamer, so a lot of things I apply in life come from playing video games, and concept in video games is called min-maxing, is maximizing the traits that are desirable and minimizing
the catch. That's what you said.
those that are not.
Oh.
And so I kind of try to apply that to my own life, and as I mentioned earlier, we only have a finite amount of free time per day, so I like to try to maximize the time that I have to, self-development. Right. And I understand, I think the concept that we're all drawing here is there's that concept of a pie, right? You spend some of your free time towards self-development, but then you also need time to switch off. And obviously, a lot of us work, so that's already, 8 to 10 hours of our day allocated to working. So I'm just in the camp of like, if something doesn't really serve you and it's kind of excessive, just try to minimize that.
Right. So what are you minning? Is it
what
minning or minimizing?
So like I said, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I just don't really watch Netflix or TV alone. I mean, for me, if I'm going to spend that time alone, I'd rather read a book or listen to a podcast or work out.
What book are you reading?
I think I mentioned it already on the show, but I'll mention it again. I'm reading Matthew McConaughey's book Green Lights, and obviously he's a celebrity, and Steve might be like, well, he's already got his claim to fame. Of course.
Oh, that was an offline conversation. Don't you dare.
Okay.
I'll bring it up. You want to talk about it?
No. But I mean, the whole concept of green lights in his book, I think, is very interesting because he kind of grew up in a middle class from Texas. Very very average, but had parents that kind of pushed him to be above average, and he talks about how he. It's not really a memoirs book, but he basically kind of shares stories of everything that's kind of pushed him to his level of success that he is where now, and he calls them green lights, and And the book is it's written very well, where it's kind of like random stories. You know, he talks about how he moved to Hollywood, and this guy was like, Hollywood can smell neediness. Like, you better get your ass to Europe and blah, blah, blah. So he actually went to Europe, and he was like, okay, we're going to go motorbiking, which I know you're into, Phil.
Love it.
Went motorbiking all over Europe. They got to the motorbike store. They had like maybe $1,200 in their pocket. And they're like, all right, I want to rent this Ducati, this Kawasaki, BMW. Added up to like $1,200. We're like, well, we only have $400 in our pocket each. But the owner liked them so much, and they're like, you know what? When I was young, I toured around motorbikes.
So how did... Okay,
So the guy was like, take the bikes, enjoy your time.
That's lucky.
Right?
How does this book affect you, though, then? Like, how are you relating it to it? Right?
I'm relating to myself because I'm also going through a time of transition. I recently resigned from my job, which I think I've mentioned before, and unlike most people that say, oh, make sure you have something else lined up, I was like, you know what? I've committed enough time. I've committed enough time to this job, and I'm ready to do something else. And putting more time into this podcast is one. And I think sometimes you have to just go with the signs that you're kind of given in your life.
Sure,
and
you gotta
they
look for them green lights.
Yeah. Exactly.
And thank you for that plug. Every one of our listeners gets a copy. It's Saga style. You get a copy.
Look, I didn't want to plug it, but you know, it's relating a lot to my.
That's good, man.
Yeah. So
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've left a job without having anything lined up.
Hello.
No, but it clears you up. Yeah. I left like sport. Yeah, it gives you a chance to clear your mind and then refocus.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah.
What are you min-maxing in your enrolled Scurvy, Steve?
Oh, what have I been maxing? Maxing?
Min-maxing.
Min-maxing.
There's two aspects. One thing that you're reducing.
Unfortunately, not enough limes. That's why I got this scurvy. But
that's right.
No, I've been minning. Oh my god, this is a tough question. I'd like to go on the show cold, but I think that got me here.
You are just sub-zero right now.
Get
over here. Oh, that's Scorpion, right?
No, that's
okay.
Scorpion.
I got a few ones. Minimize.
Ooh. Should we come back to you? Fran?
Shut up.
What am I minimizing?
What are you min-maxing? Like the min first, though.
The min. I don't know, like stupid content.
Yeah, true. It's fine. Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch anything.
Well, you were talking about memes earlier, right?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's true. I do have like a really toxic relationship with like an app called Imager, and all they do is like share memes.
Yeah.
And like when I wake up, like I'll go running, but before I go running, I spend like 10 minutes like looking at memes just while I wake up.
Is it 10 minutes or is it more like?
Nah, it's probably like 15 to 20.
Right. That's right.
And I also realized that like as much as the memes are fun, like I'm starting to be very critical about the content on that website, and I'm starting to realize that now it's become a lot of, like there's a lot of politics on that website and stuff that I just get tired of hearing over and over and over again. Like there was a lot of things, a lot of anti-China sentiments during like the protests.
Is it an American site?
Yeah, it's an American site. But for example, when the protests were happening in Hong Kong, I started noticing like there's a lot of content around the protest, a lot of anti-China content, but a lot of content that makes the protesters seem as like just the goodest people in the world, you know.
And the guys like burning.
Yeah, the guys that burned a person alive, that killed the guy with a brick, like they're just saints, and the messaging is that, and there's no balance, there's no. You know, I've seen the videos of the police shooting people, and it looks like they're defending themselves and stuff.
Wow.
So it's all very like one-sided, and you start realizing like I'm just getting one side of the story, and it's becoming too much. You know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So yeah, I would say like that. I've gotten to a point where like I'm trying to minimize that a bit more. I still enjoy the memes and the funny stuff and the cat videos, but
cat
all the
videos are timeless. Absolutely timeless.
Yeah, but all the politics.
Shout out to all the cats out there.
Yeah.
Dan, I love you so much. It's my cat.
Dan.
No, I mean
shout out to
Dan. Yeah, Dan.
Also shout out Julius. Thanks for watching. Yeah, and all the other.
Julius a cat?
No, he's a dude.
Oh, I thought it was cat shout out.
He's a cool cat.
We're shouting out to cats.
And Dan, yeah.
But yeah, to add to your point, I deleted Instagram. I didn't delete my account, but I deleted Instagram since October, and I found myself in the same place where I'm just kind of looking through people's stories, getting FOMO, and just kind of mindlessly scrolling through the feed because it's just like it's so habitual, and it's just like, and I just felt like it wasn't really
adding value to.
It wasn't adding. It just made me kind of Mr. You know, what's the guy name? Ebenezer Scrooge. I was just like being very judgmental and being like, oh, why is this person doing that? And just like looking into
ugly ass shirt.
Looking into other people's lives, being judgmental, and then it was also just like, you know, even hanging out with people is like, oh, do I need to capture an Instagram story, and you see in concerts nowadays, like instead of just enjoying the concert, you just see all the phones out.
So what I started doing with like Instagram is I started switching the things that I follow on Instagram, because I'm starting to switch from Imager to Instagram. But now with Instagram, like I don't follow people. I follow accounts that are like art, like drawers, illustrators, so comic books.
Trimming the fat.
Yeah, like, and I'm getting content that I think is interesting, that it adds value to my life. It's content that I might share, that I find enjoyable, that I'm not looking at and I'm like, who the hell is this person? Or like, why is this person doing that?
Nice,
And I'm just, and that's it. And like, I don't follow, there's very few people that I follow, and it's gonna be like,
you don't follow me or the MidYouth Universe.
I follow you.
You follow me?
I mean,
yes, I follow MidYouth Universe.
I think that's the thing is with social media, that it's a great tool to promote, you know, things like our podcast, but then also people use it personally, and it's hard to draw the line between personal use and kind of promoting your business or whatever your content might be, and
you just have 2 accounts.
Yeah,
that's what I do. Yeah,
2 accounts.
No, but it's and I think it just goes back to the point of you just got to be critical about what you're consuming.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And does it add value to your life? Is it useful content?
Yeah.
And if it's not, why is it? If it makes you angry, if it makes you, if it gives you FOMO, like why are you watching that content?
It's addictive, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes those memes are just so funny. You keep seeing people living their lives. One thing I think I sent it to you guys where it was this guy, he has this page called the Daily Stoic. Do you follow that one?
No.
His name's Ryan Holiday, and he interviewed a bunch of
shout out to him.
Great books. He interviewed a bunch of people, and the one guy was like, you gotta use the stuff you consume. If you're just consuming, like, and I think it's speaking more specifically with like self-help and all that stuff. Just consuming self-help, and I've read Jay Shetty, and
it's just mental masturbation.
But then you're not actually using it. Then what you're doing is basically, eating a nutrient-rich meal, but not exercising. So you just end up sitting on the sofa just.
So can I add to your point right there? Is like what I do on a daily is when I read something good, before I go to bed, I write about it. I write about, okay, this is something good I read today, or something good I watched, and I ask myself 3 questions. It's like, how does it apply to me? Like, how can I use it to change my life? And like, what is one thing I'm gonna use to apply it to my daily? You know.
Nice.
So I think it's about, like you said, consuming the media, and then asking yourselves the questions on how you can apply it to.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's just critical thinking. It's just
that's it. Yeah. Cool, man. Back to you, Steve.
Stoic Steve.
What do you have anything for the homies out there that they should like add to their something that you've maybe been listening to, reading, watching, something you've been consuming that you think would benefit another homie right now?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I consume is like very specific to work, because I guess min-maxing thing, right? Sometimes it's really tempting. I think we all go through stages where we try to bite off more than we can chew, and like try to cover too much ground at once. It's really hard. Like you said, if you're going to read something, you have to be able to apply it to your life, and sometimes you have to consolidate your life. I think it fluctuates. There was times when I tried to be like, Renaissance man, and I tried to be so many things, learn so many things at once, read so much content at once, and sometimes it sends your brain scrambling. Sometimes you read things and you try to get into like super maximizing your life, or like Tim Ferriss, optimizing your life to a point where life just doesn't become fun anymore. So point is, these days when I do consume things, I really try to consolidate it into various buckets, like things I'm either like one or two things I'm interested in, one thing or two things that I can apply to work directly, and then like my brain dead, content for just noobing out at home.
You gotta have that.
So, in a tech world, working like I'm a product manager, so to speak. So I have to work with a lot of teams. I have to work with engineers. I have to work with designers. I have to work with business people. So a lot of the stuff I read is in people management and like lean processes. So a lot of the stuff in a product manager role, it's really easy to get consumed and flustered because so much rides on you. You're basically responsible for the end result of something. Like at the end of the day, buck stops here kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's really easy to get caught up, second guess yourself, freak out. You have to be decisive. You have to know how to empathize with, engineers. So I read a lot of stuff these days on product management, creating good products that people like, lean practices. So, it's kind of like you're okay with putting things out that are imperfect because you're going to iterate, but it takes a huge degree of comfort. But like this, going back to the ego versus confidence episode, you have to remove your ego. It's not about you. It's not about your reputation. It's not about how you feel, but you have to be very calm and collected and confident and be like very decisive. So a lot of my current sort of focus is becoming that person a little bit more and more. So Lean UX is a book I'm reading. Another one's called Inspired is a good one. And then,
And these are all like, you can find them online, like...
you can find them audiobooks. They're really good, nice. Like 5-star books, came highly recommended. So,
nice, yeah.
A lot of stuff is just about peace of mind,
Peace of mind.
Isn't
peace such an overrated concept? Sorry, underrated concept.
Yeah.
We need peace in this world.
One more thing I wanted to mention was I think that you need to take certain periods of time where, like, if you go on a consuming spree, like books, for example, it could be positive. I know a lot of people that chase wisdom, but they seem to pivot their personality or their way of thinking based on the last thing they read. Right. It's usually called like anchoring. So you'll see someone and they'll believe one thing, and then all of a sudden you'll find out, I'm reading this one book at work, and next thing you know, they're coming in the next day and they're completely changing the way they act based on, that must be in the book that they're reading. So you see it, and it's frantic too if it affects you to always be chasing that next bit of knowledge. So one thing I always like to do is consume things and then stop for, like, if you consume for 3 months, stop consuming for 3 months, and then let your brain sort of turn all of the things that you've read and kind of like internalize it and make it your own. Yeah. So over time, you're not just the last book you read, you're a combination of all the books you read. It becomes less so that you're referencing one particular book or one particular quote. Like, you just know it. It's really compartmentalized inside of you. And you're like, so I was like, where did you learn that? And you're like, I don't remember. It was some book I read like 5 years ago. But it's really important to internalize and let it become your version of what you consume, and not trying to become the author or become somebody else.
Become the billboard for that media, for that content.
Yeah. Yes.
And I think that's where kind of journaling and taking action is kind of like basically what you said. It's like you take time to consume the content and then, write about it. That's the internalizing, and then actually applying the steps, taking action to your daily life, and challenging yourself to doing things that are different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not just jumping onto the next. And that's where I think it's easy to fall into that YouTube rabbit hole, where I've been there before. And, YouTube has that algorithm of like the things that you kind of click on. Then when you go on YouTube, it's just like all these things and you click on it and you watch one video to the next, and then you're like 10 videos deep, and like you feel all amped up and motivated, like you like learned a bunch, but have you actually applied it? And I think it's always, as you said, it's always important to draw back to it and just internalize it, see how you can apply it.
So media consumption is one half of it, but you also need to actually digest it, right? Yeah. At the end of the day. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Fran, anything you recommend to the crew out there?
Yeah, Snow Runner.
It's a truck you're driving, or like construction vehicles?
It's like all kinds of trucks.
Oh my days!
There's like 20 kinds of trucks.
Snow running, guys.
Snow running. No,
Yeah.
it's a trick
It's like the
Snow-
vanilla Death Stranding or something.
It's it's like Death Stranding, but you're just driving trucks in the mud.
That's fantastic.
Because like there was a flood, and then
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
yeah.
Oh, that's
But it's like stupid content to consume.
Yeah.
You're just
Right?
That was the most like. Yeah, this was a very tame show. That was the most like outrageous thing on the show.
Yeah.
This episode was very tame.
Yeah.
Snow Runner. That's
Snow Runner.
ridiculous.
I
Yeah.
don't know, Behind the Bastards is pretty good, like that podcast.
Yeah, so send that to her as well.
Yeah.
We'll put the link in the.
Yeah.
But we're better, you know.
Yeah, we're
You-
better. Yeah.
If you had to pick one to listen to, you re-listen to yourself on this show.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Nice.
Of course.
For me, I think I would. The only thing that I would say is, don't always try seek something new. Like there's a lot of wisdom that's been passed through the ages, and we're human. We still consume the same thing. So, you know, in a world where everything has to be the new best thing, God, go back and look at the old stuff. you
Yeah.
know? Go read Charles Dickens, or you know, go
Fun.
watch Seinfeld, or you know.
Yeah, it's funny how when you rewatch something or reread something, you discover new things.
It's incredible, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Just don't rewatch Friends. Not funny.
I think people rewatch that more for the nostalgia than
Yeah.
the actual content of it.
I never liked that show anyway.
Mm.
Seinfeld's hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh,
Seinfeld's really
It's,
good.
it's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just last thing is just be critical about what you're consuming.
Absolutely.
Just really sit down and think about like
Yeah. Because like a lot of people who have motor vehicles, they would put like they're like, oh, I only put like premium fuel in my car, and it's like, okay, cool. It doesn't really do anything. You just pay more for it, but then you're gonna fill your mind with like trash,
Yeah.
like, with literal trash.
Mhm.
Where, you know, if you see on Instagram, and it has all these posts saying, "I found this hilarious. This is the funniest thing that I've ever seen." And you watch it, and you're just like, "That's so funny." Like, but then you keep like filling your mind with that. Next thing you know, yeah.
awkward moments. Somebody shows you the video. Have you seen this
Yeah,
video?
it's
and it's
so
like
funny.
so funny. And then for 3 minutes, you're just kind of like, fuck.
Where's the punchline? No, see that point? No, this is one video. I'll show you another one. No, it's not that. Steve, Max, what's happening in the universe coming up?
What is happening?
Yeah, any future endeavors or?
Yeah, man, we're gonna challenge each other this week. I'm
Right.
imposing a challenge on
Yeah.
you, Max.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
Whether you like to accept it or not, I challenge you to run
Yeah.
50 miles.
Yeah.
Run 50 miles. All right. Run 50 miles. Let's put that in
In
kilometers.
this week.
1.6 is
It's 80 kilometers.
80 kilometers in 1 week. Okay. Let's do it. Let's.
Did you just come with that on the spot?
All right. 80 kilometers by, well, I guess next Monday, right? All right. Let's see how.
I need you to issue me a goal that has to do with weight loss.
Okay.
Okay.
Counter me.
Nice. What do you have to offer, Steve?
Yeah.
Steve. All right, Steve. I challenge you to do 300 push-ups a day.
Fucking hell, what?
You're asking me to run 80.
I literally
80
just texted you guys and said I could barely do like 60.
Yeah, I didn't say you had to do it all at once. There's
Steve, you're holding back so much. Like,
there's 24 hours a day. Okay, let's sleep. You sleep for what? 8 hours? That's generous. 8
How
hours.
many? Wait, one day in 1 day.
In 1 day, you have to accumulate 300 push-ups. So
Well,
if
can
you-
we say?
So it's like 30 push-ups every hour.
yeah, you can do 30 push-ups every
All right.
10 hours, right?
It's just
Yeah.
1 day, not every day.
By the end of the week, you need to have accumulated 300 push-ups by 7, so 2,100 push-ups.
Yeah, yeah. That I think that's
My
kind of
ma-
fair.
My anime noises.
You can partition them as you like. You can
Wait, I
do
thought you said 1 day. 300 in 1 day. Now it's every day?
no 300 in 1 day every day for 7 days.
I think this is where you insert like a picture of topless Steve so people know how
Dude,
ripped he is.
like, come
and
on.
people know that he actually could do
Come
it.
on,
No,
you can
no.
partition
Show me,
them.
show me
You
that.
can partition them as you like. All right. You
All right,
can-
fine. Challenge accepted.
I have to run.
How am I going to turn it? It's not today. I'm not doing it today.
I have to run what? I have to run 80 What? Can we do the math? What you said? 50 miles in a week.
Yeah, it's a little over 10. It's like
Can we 1.6? Anyone plug the math?
what?
Damn, these challenges, we didn't even
You-
ease in. We just
You
jumped.
you said 50 miles in 1 week, right? So
Yeah, okay, I guess
Let's
I wasn't
plug in the
getting
math.
it all. I was
Eight-
kind of
50
hoping you'd counter it.
80,
Like,
80 kilometers in a week.
oh.
what is
It's
that?
11.5 kilometers a day.
Okay, see?
not too bad.
Yeah, 11.5. Okay. All right, challenge accepted. Let's shake on it.
Starting tomorrow, I'm not doing push-ups today.
Starting tomorrow.
By next Monday. But
Yeah.
then you have to record it, you have to document it, and you have to turn
I
it
will
into
have
story
to-
content.
yeah,
but nobody
yeah.
challenged Phil.
He has Strava. Anyway, that brings us to the end
yeah.
of this episode. Guys, thanks for joining us. Fan, once again, thanks for coming by. Yeah, we miss you, bro. We're gonna have more of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, guys, follow us on Instagram.
Please
and
like and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, share it with the homies, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Adios.
Bye. Wait, doesn't Steve sign off with a stoic look into the camera?
No teeth built.
Make sure you give him a yellow tint on the skin.